What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Ranger Central podcast. And today we're going to talk about the start of the Rangers season, talk about how season ticket holders are pissed, and rightfully so, and probably Patrick Kane, which I actually do want to start there. I'm going to issue an apology. That's how I'm going to start this one. My apology goes out to absolutely nobody, because you're out of your mind if you don't want Patrick Kane back on the Rangers. I'm sorry, I'm starting it like that. You're out of your mind if you don't want him back on the Rangers. Is he better than Blake Wheeler?
I don't think
Everybody answer?
I don't think that's too difficult to be at this point.
100%.
Is he better than Nick Bonino?
Yeah.
Is he better than Barclay Goodrow?
Well, I'm going to stop you right there.
Listen,
Okay.
Barclay Goodrow did carry the Lightning to back-to-back cups, so
Yeah. And he makes $3.6 million a year, so he's got to be good to making that much money.
Is he better than Nick Bonino?
Didn't we just do that one?
I saw Jimmy Vesey then.
like Jimmy, but got to give it a Kaner there.
It's close though, right?
Yeah.
This guy Nico.
I mean, if it wasn't for the Conn Smythe that Kane won in 2013, might have to give it to Vesey there.
So I think it's pretty clear, and the conversation's done there. Patrick Kane would fit on the Rangers because he's better than all those guys I just listed. Ditch Wheeler and VC, get Kane on a team-friendly deal. We will be there. I just don't understand why. Like, the thing that annoys me the most is how mad people get, but it also is funny to me. Like, it's so funny how mad people get if I tweet his name. Oh, why are you glazing this guy? Because he makes the Rangers a better team if they get him.
And he's going to be healthy, too. It's a big thing. He's coming back healthy. And no, if he's not healthy, he's not good. It's $2 million the most. Like, oh, no. How will we ever recover?
But guys, he doesn't play defense, just like Blake Wheeler. At least Patrick Kane isn't a walking corpse at this point.
He doesn't play defense. Didn't we give Nemeth a 3-year deal at one point?
Bought out, or not bought out, traded after 1 year. I don't know how Chris Troy pulled that one off, but I mean, obviously we had to attach sweeteners.
Bro, I've seen so many tweets on Twitter that's been saying, "Oh, why would you replace Blake Wheeler, who's already washed up, with Patrick Kane, who's already washed up?" I'm like, Are you kidding? Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh,
no. The argument that aggravated me the most is they're like, oh, well, because they're shifting the goalposts every time I bring something up. So first, the argument was you can't take him out of the top. You can't take any of these kids out of the top six. You need to keep them there. Okay, play him on the third line. Well, he doesn't fit on the third line. Yeah, Blake Wheeler, some special third line known back checker who's elite defensively. And if that's the case, Kaka should be on the third line. He's arguably the best defensive forward on the team. Then the goalpost shifts even further. Oh, well, Blake Wheeler's one of the best in expected goals for on the team this year. Okay, that's why Laviolette benched him and took him off the power play. Goalposts go even further. You see what I'm saying? It just keeps going further and further, and it just doesn't make sense at all. And Mike, it actually is a rumor. There was a report from Frank Saravelli. That's why this even got brought up. So I don't know why people on Twitter either way are saying like we're starting discourse or anything like that when it's a legit rumor that the Rangers are interested. So it is something to actually talk about and think about. But apparently it's a problem. And apparently he makes the team worse. So that's what everyone's saying. Don't know how anyone could think that when this team tried out Jake Leschyshyn last year, when this team trots out Nick Bonino, trots out Barclay Goodrow, Tyler Pitlick, you name it. So doesn't make sense to me. I'm not going to spend too much time. I already am aggravated from all the Twitter beef today with it. I don't need to go even further with it, but we'll talk about the games. The Rangers started their season in Buffalo. Got a how would you guys say that game went? It was okay, right?
Yeah,
I
thought they could have played a lot better.
Yeah, they kind of got they kind of got lucky, right?
5 goals wasn't enough. I at least need 10.
Yeah, and you need to get the shutout there. I'm sorry, there's no excuse. You have to get the shutout there. Can't accept that. But yeah, the Rangers dominated that game from start to finish. It wasn't even close. And it was just nice to see, actually, the good 5v5 play. It's nice that we've seen that throughout the entire course of these past 3 games. Who do you guys say is the standout player right now on the team?
Who wants to go first?
I'm not.
I'll go. It's
Go
my
ahead, Matt.
debut. I'll put my neck on the line. Forward, I gotta go Panarin. I've been really impressed with not only just Panarin, but that whole line in general. You know, constantly the past 3 games have been keeping pressure in the offensive zone, and Panarin just looks a lot different than last year. You could just tell when he's skating with the puck, he looks a lot more comfortable, and that in part due to Laviolette and the fact that now there's a system in place, and now that Panarin knows, this guy's gonna be here, I can move the puck there. It's a lot easier. Players thrive under structure, and thanks to Lavi for finally putting in that structure.
I agree.
That's a great pick. I think there's definitely been a few standouts. If I had to pick one though, I'm gonna go Alexis Lafreniere. And all the podcast watchers
Love
here,
franchise.
we like to dunk on him a lot. Well, we don't like to do it. Well, it was warranted, I would say, for a very long time. But I mean, these first 3 games, I think he's looked really good, and praying he keeps it up. Obviously, that first game against Buffalo was, I think, one of the best games he had in his career. He was obviously got us on the board early with that goal, beautiful assist from Panarin. He was just flying out there on the forecheck, aggressive, making beautiful passes. He's really clicking with that line right now, and from what we saw in the pre-season, I was concerned with him, but now he's been really good the first 3 games here, and I really hope he keeps it up. So I like what I've seen from Lafreniere for sure.
Are you going last, Nick?
Yeah.
All right,
I'm gonna ride the back of the bus on this one.
I'm gonna go with Kreider. He's definitely been really good so far this season. He's showing out early. And the power play, the way that they have the power play structured this season so far is helping Kreider so much more too. They're starting to move around more, and it's opening the deflection opportunities for him. And this is why I said on Joey D's podcast on Ice Cold Takes, I was saying that Kreider might mess around, just score 50 this year again. He might, because just the way that the Rangers have that power play, they look better 5v5 too, so he might chip in 5v5 and get some goals. And that's arguably been the Rangers' best line in terms of both ends of the puck. So I would have to go with Kreider.
I might steal your Kreider pick, but just to be a little different, I'm gonna go. I don't think a lot of people are gonna agree with this. Well, I think some people will. I'm torn between Fox and Miller.
I agree with Blake Wheeler. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, Fox like it never ceases to amaze that Fox somehow finds new ways to get better. Because I right off the rip, I'm telling you right now, he's already defensively better, which I didn't know if it was possible. And K'Andre Miller, first of all, shout out K'Andre Miller, the 3rd most minutes on the team, time on ice per game played, playing almost a full minute more than Jacob Trouba. Miller's been friggin' awesome. There were a lot of concerns. I mean, we talked about it last year in the playoffs. Miller was not good in the playoffs, and he was pretty bad down the stretch at the end of last season. Right meow, he's maybe just behind Fox, and probably maybe tied with Lindgren in terms of defensive reliability. He's been fucking awesome. I love it. And also, this one's for you, Nico. Slight shout out to Vincent Trocheck. The reason I'm saying that is the Rangers forward with the 2nd highest average ice time per game. People were like, "Oh, you can't have a $5.6 million center on as your $5.6 million player as your 3rd line center." He's averaging 18 minutes and 58 seconds a night. It's a full minute longer, more than Zibanejad, and only 9 seconds less than Artemi Panarin. And I think Trocheck's been excellent. As a matter of fact, I would say he's doing better in his 3rd line role as he did as a 60-point 2nd line center last year. I think Trocheck's been awesome in all areas of the ice, and he looks like he's playing a lot harder and getting kind of back to those Carolina Hurricanes roots where he's just a pesky mother effer that can score.
No, yeah. I definitely agree with that. I even said after the Buffalo game that he looked like the Carolina Trocheck.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of that reason is why when Trocheck was in Carolina, he was under Rod Brind'Amour, who loves to clog the neutral zone. What is Laviolette having us do? Playing the 1-3-1. We're clogging the neutral zone. and it just fits. He's doing his thing. If he could lay off the penalties, I would appreciate that. But
Yeah, that would be nice.
Y'all know that ain't happening. Mike Tomlin,
Yeah.
Antonio Brown.
That'll
No,
never
I
happen.
get it.
But
I get
you
Mike
could
Tomlin.
appreciate that he's actually trying hard every single night. Even that Columbus game where we looked a little bit deflated after we got 2 or 3, how many goals taken back? However many goals taken back. I try to block out the bad memories. He was, for me, the Rangers player that was visibly still skating and trying the hardest and did not look deflated. And I could really appreciate that.
Yeah, I would agree on Trocheck. Fox was my second pick, though, for sure. I think Fox has been very good, and I think the system really is going to help Fox's game elevate even more, which is crazy to say considering there's already an argument that he's the best defenseman in the league. And if not the best, he's definitely the second best. And now he's looking even better. Just the plays that he's making in the neutral zone too, transitioning the defense into offense. It's beautiful what we're seeing from Adam Fox, and he's definitely going to be in the Norris conversation yet again. And that's going to not be a surprise because he'll be in the Norris conversation for his entire career. But what about disappointing guys? Who is your disappointing player? I mean, there's a few that could fit for this one, but who's going to take Blake Wheeler?
I want to go last on it. I want to go last on this one again, actually.
Who's taking the easy way out and picking Wheeler?
Who is taking Blake Wheeler? We all know he's in our head here, so I
mean,
guess I'll do it.
I know who I'm going to go with, so.
I'll
someone
do
doesn't
Blake
say it.
Wheeler. I'll dunk on Blake Wheeler.
I think I think me and Evan might have the same guy, but I'm gonna go with Braden Schneider.
Fuck!
Yeah, there we go. No, but you could just see throughout the preseason, he just didn't look right at all. I mean, his positioning has been horrible, and I know he was a little better last game, but I haven't liked his game at all through the first 2 seasons. Now I know people are saying it might be adjustment to the system, and I'll give him that. But if by the 10-15 game mark, if he's still not finding his footing in the system, then we might have a problem in that third D pairing.
I don't know. Like, I'm just I'm honestly more worried about Braden Schneider than I am like anyone else on the roster, as that might surprise people. Because the thing that concerns me is that year one, we gave him the benefit of the doubt. It's his first year. He was playing with Patrick Nemeth. It's like, okay, let's see what could happen. Then he plays with Ben Harper and Zach Jones last year for most of the year until they got Nico Mikkola. He did not look good at all. Still playing with Jones, looked awful playing with Jones. Did again against Columbus, and then he looked bad playing, of course, with Harper, but Harper also sucks. We gave him the benefit of the doubt there. They got Mikkola, and he still wasn't great. So it's like, okay, there might be a concern here. And now we're in another year where he doesn't look good. They have Gustafsson, who's arguably been his best defensive partner that he's had thus far.
It's not even close. It's not even close.
It really isn't even close. And obviously the Zach Jones game is a wash, but he still has looked bad, even playing with Eric Gustafsson. And you got to raise the question, is he going to be anything more than a third pair defenseman? Because I'm honestly starting to lose hope in that. I don't know if it's because the Rangers rushed him or what it is, but he just doesn't look like what the Rangers, especially John Davidson, who took a victory lap about the pick, thought he was going to be. To me, I hope he proves me wrong, and there's still time for him to prove me wrong, but I don't see him, at least as of right now, more than a bottom pair defenseman. If he's going to keep this play up, he's one that you have to consider moving at the deadline to get better on that D-core, because if you could limit Trouba's minutes and get a legit top 4 defenseman on that right side to play with Miller, I think this team could really, really do some damage.
100%. That's another guy at the top of a lot of people's list in terms of disappointment. No denying it. But yeah, Blake Wheeler for me. That's quite the obvious pick. It's just he needs to retire. The dude is skating in quicksand out there. It's like
Would you say that we need that more than anything? Would you say that?
I would. I maybe even get that a little closer to that picture, but
I don't have the close-ups yet.
It's bad. I hate I hate the argument too that people say he's making basically league minimum. He still came here like supposed to being a like legitimate guy in like the middle six winger spot. Like he was supposed to give us like minimum 50 points and be a productive player, and he's been the opposite of that so far. And then the XG people bring up, which that's why I hate the analytics sometimes, because the eye test does not show that at all. So he's just washed up, plain and simple, and I've been disappointed. I mean, we kind of knew it in preseason coming in. He looked bad, but he's really dragging down, I feel like, that Cully and Trocheck line. If you can get another effective player with those two, it's a nasty third line. But and we already see with Laviolette too. He's on a short leash, which I love to see. Gallant, he would still have him in the top six right now, but I mean,
Yeah, the
good
first
work by
line, first power
Laviolette.
play.
Yeah, he'd probably
Yeah.
be playing with Kreider and Zibanejad. So that's good to see that he's being accountable with him. So I mean, we'll see where they go with Wheeler from here, because I don't know if I see it lasting too long.
I agree. I was wary about them signing Wheeler in the first place. If you go back to that live stream and the rumors were starting to come in that they were going to get Wheeler, I was a little weary about it because I thought he's probably going to get at least like 2 million. Then they get him for 800K, and I'm happy about it. I'm like, all right, I could get on board with this for 800K. And then this is what annoys me. Like, I did the typical thing that us fans do where you hear concerns from other fan bases, and like Jet fans warned Ranger fans about Wheeler, and we did the I don't want to listen to you type thing. The guy
Put the
put up
blinders on.
50 points. Yeah, we put the blinders on, and everything that they have said has been pretty true. And the only thing I disagree with Jet fans is that I don't think he refuses the back check. I just think he's physically not able to with how slow he is. Like, he just physically can't back check, because he wasn't known to always be a bad back checker like early on in his career. But over the years, as he's slowed down even more and more, he has just looked very slow. And I don't take too much stock into his expected goals. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Coley and Trocheck have really, really helped him out there. And I agree, Nico. If they could get a productive guy on that line could really start to make some noise.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, I agree with that. And just to back up on his contract, that's the one thing I do like about him is the 800K, because I mean, like you said before, when we went back to July 1st, I didn't want Blake Wheeler either, because I was scared, he might get a $2-3 million contract, and I was like, no, not for him. Now with all the problems we heard in Winnipeg, but I think his contract
One of
right
many
now
problems in Winnipeg.
Yeah, but I think one of many. But no, I like his contract because of the fact that it's immovable. We're not tied to this guy for a year. It's only a 1-year deal, and it's 800K. So if you wanted to trade for him, somebody out there is gonna take a flyer on him, because why wouldn't you for 800K? And also, if you want to waive him, someone will probably also pick up his contract there also.
Or just leave him on the bench, and he's cheaper than a call up.
Yeah. And even when we saw I think somebody put on Twitter yesterday, if they do waive Wheeler, they can get Kane back for like 2 million.
Right.
No, why would we want that? That makes the team
Nah, why would
worse.
we want
No. And James, this is why we're saying it's players thus far, because he could heat up. We'll see. But it's definitely concerning if Laviolette, who knows the game very well, this isn't Gerard Gallant demoting him or anything. This is a coach that actually knows what he's doing, and he yanked him off the second power play, and he even yanked him off the third line for a bit in that home opener game. He was getting a lot less shifts, and I don't know if that's a fatigue thing or what. And if it's a fatigue thing, that's even more concerning.
Yeah.
You cannot have a guy that's playing on your third line riding your bench at times.
Right.
But yeah, we'll see what happens with Wheeler, but I'm really concerned about him thus far. But Nick, who's your pick?
Well, my biggest issue player right now it's Jonathan Quick. The dude's been here for 3 games and hasn't made a fucking save.
I agree.
No, I'm just sorry.
I don't understand. Like, and then he waves to the Columbus crowd like he thought he was the main character there. Like,
right?
come
It's
on.
like
what are you
make
doing?
make a save first, and then you can wave to the crowd.
Exactly.
No, but seriously though, in all seriousness, it's the same for me. It's Schneider and Wheeler. I'm less concerned about Schneider because he's 21 years old. He's in his 2.5 year in the NHL. Like, I think so. I saw in the comments earlier too. Like, someone said like most 21-year-old defensemen are still a couple years away or are just starting their NHL careers. I am the
Exactly.
least amount concerned about Braden Schneider. Blake Wheeler's more concerning because of his age and because it just seems like he's just too slow for the game. And I fear that the signing of Blake Wheeler was more of a, oh, that's a name right there, than it was, oh, this is a piece of the puzzle. And I fear that was the case. I think there were better free agent options. I'm not going to go through them right now because I don't have the list in front of me. I feel like there were better free agent third line options than
They
the
were
Wheel
definitely
deal.
Jack Harlow. They did have options. Like
They
we
they
talked
were
about it.
they were in the damn driver's seat. They were Jack fucking Harlow, and they said no.
Huh.
And they believed the hype. So
I mean, yeah. You said not like in terms of hype wise or anything, but like you said, you were very concerned too about Nick Bonino. He's been another one that's definitely
he's gotten better though. Like, you know what I could actually appreciate about Nick Bonino?
him blocking shots at least.
Blocking shots, but even though his game has visibly is not as good as it used to be, again, you got to cut the guy some slack being over 35 years old, or is he 34? However old he is now. I'm willing to cut him slack there, but at least visibly, he looks like he cares. He looks like he wants to win. He's doing pretty well in the face. Actually, I just had it pulled up. Where's he in the faceoffs? He's at 68.2% in the faceoff dot. So he's winning faceoffs, which is what we needed. He's playing hard. He's blocking shots. He's making hits. He's actually making decent plays with the puck. Do I wish he was a little bit faster? Yeah, but you know what? For what he's making at 800K, he's replaceable. And I'm more concerned about the guy in our top 9 that we need to have 50 points than the fourth liner that we really kind of just need to get like 50 or 60 games out of him and just be a reliable penalty killer. Maybe play 10 minutes a night, maybe 10.
I agree. Like even looking at some of the names that we talked about in free agency,
Let me
like
pull that list up now.
Evan Rodriguez could have been a solid signing, but this is where
he
again
got paid though, kind of a little bit.
$3 million, yeah. But this is
Yeah.
again where it all goes back to them paying Barclay Goodrow because Frank
Yeah.
Vetrano, you could argue, still would have been a Ranger. Corey Perry,
Yep.
I wanted Corey
Vetrano.
Perry. I really wanted Corey Perry. He got a lot of money though, so I'm not like he got $4 million. Who knows if he would have took less to try and win a cup here? But regardless,
Yeah.
Corey Perry still would have been a better signing. The guy who
Could be a
I
trade
still
deadline
would have.
piece.
What did you say?
Could be a trade deadline piece. By the way, sorry to cut you off.
That's very true, and I would definitely
Mhm.
be on board with a Corey Perry acquisition for the bottom 6. Then you have the guy that, like, the Rangers, if you're going to talk about a guy they should have moved Barclay Goodrow for, Michael Bunting. We were beating that drum.
God almighty. Don't even
non-stop.
get me fucking started on that right now, dude. If you really want us to be blow a gasket, I pray you don't start with that. I will lose my fucking mind.
But it's just the truth. Like, it was right
God
there. That was a
almighty, dude.
fucking layup of a move to go get Michael Bunting.
Dude.
And they
and you let him
fumbled.
go to a division rival on top
Bro,
of that.
I was going through Cat Friendly last night, looking at contracts and stuff, and I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw that Chandler Stevenson was on 2.75, and we're
Dude.
paying Barclay Goodrow $3.6 million.
I believe it.
See that
The
this is what's
contract
killing
gets
me, and
worse
this is
by
what's
the
killing me
day.
about Goodrow. If it's just like if there was a way to move Barkley, and I'm not saying there was, I'm saying if there was a way to move Barkley Goodrow at the draft or before free agency, and we didn't do it, I'm gonna be fucking pissed. All right, Michael Bunting. Let's talk about Bunting because now you got me riled up, and it's the only thing on my fucking mind. Michael Bunting's making $4.5 million, not even with the no movement clause, with a modified
Isn't
no
he
trade
making
clause in the
4,
first
not
2
4
years.
and a half?
4.5.
Okay.
He's making
so-
4.5 for 3 years. All right. We won't talk about his offensive numbers because people say, oh, it's inflated because he's in Toronto. Oh, yeah, whatever. He's a fucking point a game already in Carolina. He drew more penalties than Connor McDavid did last season. I don't want to hear it. You're not gonna sit here and tell me that you would rather have Barclay Goodrow and $900,000 in cap space instead of Michael Bunting. There's
And-
no fucking way. And he might have taken less money to come here. I'm not saying he would have, but there's a chance he might have.
And it's not just Bunting. You look at Carolina's third line of Stahl, Fost, and Martinuk.
dude.
Martinuk's on 1.8. Jesper Fost is on 2.4, and Jordan
Another
Stahl's
guy
on
they
2
fumbled and let walk.
2.9.
Yes,
that
for
cur-
Frost.
And that
Fucking
third line
insane.
is so good.
Meanwhile, our fourth line makes a combined cap hit for less than Barclay Goodrow. You could have easily rolled out,
Yep.
well, outside of Barclay Goodrow, like meaning Pitlick, Benino, and VC. You could have easily rolled that out as your fourth line, move Barkley Goodrow, give up whatever asset you have to get Michael Bunting. And I don't want to hear either that, oh, Barkley Goodrow is physical and he's won Stanley Cups. I don't want to hear jack shit about it because, one, you could argue he was the worst player or forward, at least, on that Tampa Bay Lightning Cup-winning team. Both of those Cup-winning teams. He was easily the worst of the that third line. And the contracts back it up. And I don't want to hear, oh, well, Barkley Goodrow's physical. Yeah, Michael Bunting is. Have you seen the way he plays?
Seriously,
he is fucking annoying to play against.
Again, he drew more penalties. He drew more penalties than anybody else in the NHL last year.
It's insane.
And that's worth something when the Rangers were a team last year that was essentially just power play merchants. A lot of our bread and butter was on the power play last year.
Yeah. I just wonder what the Rangers do. Like, how hard did they try to move Barkley Goodrow? Like, was it a matter of? You don't think so? I agree because there's a team out there that is definitely taking Barkley Goodrow. I do think so. Yeah, you're gonna have to attach that asset, but I mean, look at some of the players that have got moved in the past with bad cap hits. I mean, we saw it over this offseason with Andrew Ladd. Like, Barkley Goodrow was a movable piece, and I'm disappointed that Drury probably did not try and make it happen like it should have, because you could add easily a fourth line of Pitlick, Benino, VZ, and he could have been kicked to the curb and used that cap space way more efficiently. So it angers me. I hope he's not on the team by the deadline, but I don't see that being a likely scenario.
Those other stupid GMs, and this comment too is really what aggravates me too. He is on the penalty kill, but he's not even on the top penalty kill, and he's supposed to be this like penalty kill specialist type player, and he's not even that anymore. Benino and Pitlick are on that top penalty killing unit, so he doesn't kill penalties. He's not on the power play. He doesn't do anything 5v5. What is he getting paid $3.6 million for? Could somebody answer that for me and give like a reasonable reason? I don't want to hear shit about the 2 cups. Don't want to hear shit about his leadership and the fact that he has an A, because he got an A because of that contract and because of the fact that Gerard Gallant was in that locker room and because of the fact that he won those cups. Don't want to hear anything about it. So I just can't see anything that justifies Barkley Goodrow being on this team still, unless Chris Drury. Until I hear Chris Drury tried to make phone calls and literally had nobody willing to take him, I don't want to hear a reason as to why they didn't move Barkley Goodrow.
I have a reason why Barkley Goodrow wasn't moved. It's because Dolan knew if Goodrow's gone, who's going to bring in all the girls to watch the games?
God almighty.
Fair enough.
Just a joke, guys. Just a joke. Don't cancel me.
Great. That's it. First podcast on already canceled.
Yeah, already done. You're done, buddy. Get out of here. See you later.
But it really is true. Like I don't understand. And people like defended that Goodrow contract at the time it was signed. I was literally pants down shitting on that contract from the day it was signed. And there were people that were genuinely like, whoa, this is the going rate of guys that won Stanley Cups and bring that experience. Can you name me on the Tampa Bay Lightning roster? Now, granted, it was a stacked roster that won back-to-back cups. Aside from Patrick Maroon, can you name me one other player that won a cup on that team? I don't think they were. They didn't have like guys that like, oh yeah, we need to bring in guys and overpay guys because they won cups and because they play hockey hard. If Barkley Goodrow was making $1.5 million, I don't think we had this conversation.
This was another thing too. It was an overreaction to Tom Wilson.
Yeah, 100%.
After another.
But I don't think we have this conversation if he's making $1.5 million. I don't. Even if he's making $2 million, we might be having this conversation, but not as aggressively. It's the fact that he's making almost $4 million a year. He is making okay. So, and we're gonna use this as a comparable too because we talked about him earlier. Okay, he is actively making. Hold please. Okay, he's making $9,000, not even $8,000 less than Frank Vatrano. You're not going to sit there with a straight face and tell me you'd rather have Barkley Goodrow on your third line or in your top 9 than Frank Vatrano. Vatrano, what he did for the Rangers, he was a fireball of energy. He was a motherfucker to play against. He could score. And to tell you the truth, I think he's the best thing on the Kreider's advantage line since Jesper Fast. And he's, 13 points in 20 playoff games for us, 13 points in 22 regular season games. Last year on a shitty Anaheim team, and I mean shitty. I mean like embarrassingly bad.
A career high
Anaheim
in
team.
points, right?
Career high in points, 41 points, 22 goals, 2 games so far in Anaheim, 3 goals. I don't understand. Like, it's like when the Rangers get players that are very effective for them and at a good age, it's like, no, we don't want you anymore. Like, oh, what's that? You're about to collect AARP. Your best days are behind you. Allow me, sir. Oh, you're physical like twice in your career. Please, here's a bucket of money. Like, you got to be fucking kidding. Like, and it's the same thing going back with Tyler Mott. I'm not gonna be too upset about Tyler Mott because I don't think he was as good the second year as he was the first year. But we let Tyler Mott walk after his first season with us. And what was our response? Like, I want you guys to think back for a second. Who do we have on the team as our slotted in fourth line center prior to reacquiring Tyler Mott at the trade deadline? Does anybody remember?
Wait, what'd you say?
Who was our fourth line center last year prior to bringing back Tyler Mott? Who going into the season was our answer?
I was Ryan Carpenter.
Yeah, Carpenter.
Ryan fucking Carpenter. We decided not to keep the guy that was arguably our best forward. I'm sorry, I don't want to say that because that's kind of egregious to say. Our one of our most effective forwards. Instead of bringing him back for pennies on the dollar, we're like, no, we want Ryan Carpenter. We want him right now. Like, this doesn't even make sense. Carpenter, I think he registered 2 NHL games for us.
The roster was so poorly constructed going into opening night last year. Our fourth line, what was the cap hit? Because you had Carpenter, Reeves, and Blais. That was our fourth line last year.
Almighty. It was fucking nauseating. Not a single player on that fourth line finished the season with us. And I get it's the fourth line, but if you literally have an entire line, not even in your organization by the trade deadline, there's underlying issues and questions that need to be asked about who the fuck your professional scouts are telling you that these are the 3 guys you need to run on your fourth line. I don't think anybody could have expected Sammy Blais to be as bad as he was because he was excellent for us prior to getting injured. But dude, that fourth line was brutal.
And I know I agree with your points. The fourth line, but fourth lines are important. Listen, if you want to win a cup, you got to have a deep team, and you got to be able to run
2014
roll 4 lines. I mean, you take a look at the defending Stanley Cup champions, Vegas Golden Knights, and you look at their fourth line. Their fourth line is Keegan Colasar, Nicholas Roy, and William Carrier. Those guys can actually fucking play hockey. Not like fucking Carpenter, Blais, and Reeves.
And the thing that sucks is we're having the same conversation about the fourth line this season already. I know it's 3 games in, but it's like every single time the scorecard comes out for the game, it's always those. Yeah, it's always the fourth line at the bottom of the scorecard, and it's just, I just don't even know. Like, you're right, it's concerning. At least it's not expensive, the fourth line this year. I guess that's the only thing you could hang your hat on, because Reeves, they gave a matching $1.75 million extension to for whatever reason. Blais, they gave 1.5 instead of paying guys then and there too. Like, they could have easily paid Vetrano instead of Reeves and Blais, but they chose to pay those guys instead too.
And speaking on Ryan Reeves too, this could be a testament to the organization, or at least how the Rangers were coached. Ryan Reeves actually looks like a hockey player, and he's playing really well in Toronto. When he was with the Rangers, he was fucking invisible. Literally, his entire contribution on the Rangers was Jesse Releasos. Other than that, he was useless for the Rangers.
Merch sales.
Dude, seriously, like when he was on the Rangers, it was someone would get in his face, he'd just sit there and laugh. He really wouldn't do much about it. He had a few fights. I think he won a couple fights with the Rangers, but it's like, dude, I don't know. Ryan Reeves was, to me, a pretty bad Ranger. I don't really think he did much for us. And then you look at him in Toronto, he looks reinvigorated. He's playing physical. He's
even when he went to Minnesota.
Yeah, right. Even in Minnesota, he just looks like a significantly better player. And I don't know if that's a testament to the coaching, the organization, or the team, but there was something clicked the second he left. And Sammy Blais too. Look at Sammy Blais the second he left the Rangers. I'm pretty sure he outscored Tarasenko.
I mean, it's probably a little bit of both.
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything.
I don't know. I don't want to be too upset at the Rangers right now. I'm really trying not to complain. I know we're kind of cherry picking stuff that's upsetting and concerning, and trust me, it's easy to do that. It's very we're fucking Rangers and Mets fans. I mean, Jesus Christ, we live off of misery.
I was gonna give a Mets comparison with Ryan Reeves. Like, the way Ryan Reeves was here reminded me a lot of how Curtis Granderson was at the end of his Mets tenure, where he
Yeah.
wasn't an effective player, but you wanted to keep him around
Yeah.
because he was so good in the clubhouse. That's kind of what it
Yeah.
was with Ryan Reeves. He was not effective at all, and people were mad at me because I said the Rangers should get rid of him because, we need someone to police the ice. But it's like,
Right. There's
no,
been so many
if he's
incidents since he's left.
yeah, and it's like, if that's your concern that you have to waste a body on that, that's a problem. That's a
Yeah.
problem, and it shows that your team is soft and weak all around. Your team
Mhm.
needs to be able to learn at some point.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
Yep.
But they could have got a couple of different guys even for that bottom six this offseason. Like, I would have taken Ryan Donato, another guy we talked about. I think that was at the deadline, though, last year.
Yeah. Well, we talked about him leading up. We talked about him. I know you didn't like this one, but actually, let me see if I still have that slideshow up. Jonathan Drouin was one.
Yeah, Drouin. Archibald, of course.
God almighty, don't say his name. That's my man's right there.
The GOAT, Josh Archibald.
God almighty, the goat of goats. Fucking. I really hope that man comes back and plays hockey again. I big Archibald guy. But here, Max Comtois, but that's not really a miss. I don't really think anyone's missing him. Anders Bjork. I'm not sure where Bjork is or if he even signed. Actually, I think he did sign, didn't he?
I think he signed. I didn't really like him either, but I think he signed. But I think he's in the.
No, he's a
Hey,
he's
No,
UFA.
yeah, he's a free agent still. Wow.
So I mean, he's still technically an option. I don't know what he's doing right now with his life.
I mean,
Andres-
another guy I liked was Cogliano. Good fourth line guy, good two-way player, can score goals.
Yeah, Cogliano wasn't bad.
Signed for
At least he wheels.
$825K.
Danton
Mhm.
Heinen was a big one.
Danton Heinen.
God, Heinen would have been fucking awesome on that third line. This one was the one you didn't like, Evan. It was the Austin Watson one. But dude, to tell you the truth, I mean, dude, if he's signing, I don't know. Actually, did he even sign?
Yeah,
I think he did sign.
He's with Tampa.
Right.
What
Oh, that's
James
right.
Van Reem's like.
Jiver.
Eee.
I'm not a big Jiver guy. I think he would have just been Wheeler.
I
I think he
agree.
would have just literally been Wheeler. But I like Austin Watson because I mean, if you want a tough guy that could maybe play 6 minutes, fine. Or just a guy like if you want someone like that on your bench, fine. Going into the offseason, this is the list that I had. For bargain bin shopping, I had Luke Glendening. Here at Craig Smith, who I think Craig Smith would have been the perfect fit on
Craig
that third
Smith
line.
would have been good.
Dude, the way the fourth line is constructed right now, you cannot sit there and tell me Craig Smith. He signed for $1 million in Dallas. God almighty, Craig Smith would have been fucking awesome. He's got a goal in 2 games. Milan Lucic, Derek Brassard, who I think is still a free agent. Archibald, who obviously stepped away. Tyler Pitlick, I had on that list, who ended up signing. I'm a big Pitlick guy. I think he's been okay to start. Garnet Hathaway, but I mean, he didn't really sign for that much in
I think he signed for $2 million.
But it was definitely it was cheaper than what we thought. We were saying during that podcast, we were saying he was gonna make like 2.3.
Yeah, we thought he was going to get overpaid, but I think teams
Didn't.
saw what happened with Barkley Goodrow and Blake
Yeah.
Coleman in particular, and
Yeah.
realized, hey, these guys are not worth as much
100%.
as they got paid.
Yep. And then it was
Yeah.
Drew N. Rodriguez and Jesper Foss, and that's really
I
the
mean,
end of the list.
another guy also got Thomas Tatar, signed for 1.5 in Colorado.
Yeah, Tatar. Yeah, it would have been a great third liner. It would have been excellent.
Yeah, they got a good third line Colorado with Wood, Colton, and Tatar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! Imagine that fourth line. That's a
Ross
fourth
Colton,
line.
dude. God almighty.
But
If
this-
Ross Colton was available in the Rangers, I don't know. Was the Ross Colton trade? Was it like Colorado just said, "Hey, can we have Ross Colton?" Or were they actively shopping him? If they were actively shopping him, I know he's making $4 million, but Ross Colton, mod on that kid can play hockey.
Yeah, that would have been another good fit there. But this is what bothers me when people are talking about how Patrick Kane coming back would be a bad idea, because you have a guy who's on the free agent market right now, potentially willing to come to your team for a very affordable price. Because this has been my point the entire time, but people for some reason don't want to hear it. If Patrick Kane comes back, he's not signing for more than $2 million. It's just not
No, he's
possible
not.
with the Rangers cap situation unless Goudreau gets moved. So he would have to come back for $2 million or less. You're telling me that is a dumb idea for the Rangers when he easily makes the bottom 6 better, or the top 9 better, I should say, because another point that people are missing. What happens if one of these kids gets hurt or someone in the top 6 gets hurt? You're telling me I'm going to have to watch Will Coley go in the top 6? Is Vinny Trocheck playing wing now? Is that what's happening? Is he playing in the wing in the top 6? What happens if there's an injury? What are you going to do at that point? They need to get some insurance there. And the Rangers are going to have to make moves at the deadline regardless. So they're already somewhat depleted draft capital-wise. They don't have their second-round picks in 2025 and 2026. Don't have their third rounder the next 2 years. Don't have a fourth. Actually, in 2025, they do have a fourth rounder, but they don't have a seventh rounder for this draft. They're already depleted on draft picks. They're inevitably going to have to give up more draft picks to improve the fourth line at the deadline. Why give up more assets for someone to finish out the top 9 when there's a guy on the market? It just makes no sense unless they think Brennan Othmann's really going to be, he's that close to being ready. But if that's the case, why is he not on the roster right now? Like, why go out and sign Wheeler when you could have Othmann? This is a galaxy brain theory, but I wonder if the Rangers, or just the NHL, I should say, if they actually compensate teams for having a rookie of the year and the team gets rewarded like a draft pick, like they should, like the MLB does. I wonder if that would have gave them an incentive to start Othmann right away, even though obviously Connor Bedard's probably the runaway for the Calder this year. I just wonder if like that would have gave them incentive to start Brennan Othmann in the NHL right now, but I don't know.
Yeah, I thought Othmann deserved to make it, but you can see at the end of the preseason, those last 2 games when they had him play on the fourth line, you knew right then and there he wasn't making the team.
Yeah, the writing was on the wall. They put him up. They set him up for failure. They set him up for failure at the end.
And listen, I know Kane is not exactly the greatest two-way player out there, but I think he does bring balance to that third line. I mean, if you have a third line of Cooley, Trocheck, and Kane, you're going to have Kane, who gives you the playmaking ability and the goal scoring. You have a guy in Vinny Trocheck who can take face-offs, is a good two-way guy, and you have Will Cooley, who's a good power forward, can get on the forecheck and score goals. I think that's a well-balanced third line, and I don't understand why people can't see that.
I agree. Actually, you know who I've had in mind? He's actually recently popped up in trade rumors because this team's just for some reason trying to get rid of him. Who I think would be excellent on that third line if it's not Patrick Kane is Matthew Joseph, making less than $3 million. If you look at his rates and miscellaneous stats from last season, I mean that's a kid that literally skates like the damn wind, plays his ass off, has skill. I think he'd be perfect for the third line.
Yeah,
less than
Garland
$3
would
million
be
for
good
3
too.
years. Who?
Someone said Garland in the chat. That's a good
Yeah,
shout.
Connor Garland.
Balance.
If you can get him at eat his contract, cut that in half, that'd be perfect. I'm all aboard the Garland and or Matthew Joseph trade. Train.
Yeah, Nick, I agree with you on Matthew Joseph. I watched the Ottawa's like their first 3 games, and he stood out. I mean, his forechecking ability is insane. This guy just doesn't stop skating.
No, he's good. He's. I don't know how the Rangers would make it work cap wise. Though that's literally the only issue. Because even if you cut Blake Wheeler, you don't have enough to sign, or you don't have enough cap space to bring in Matthew Joseph today.
What's his contract?
You're
2.95.
You're telling me Ottawa doesn't want a 2-time Stanley Cup champion in return?
Hey,
That's
we
intriguing.
will
Save
be
him
there.
a spot.
The issue is that the whole reason. I think the whole reason Ottawa is trying to get rid of Matthew Joseph is just like a money thing.
Yeah, because they haven't re-signed Shane Pinto yet.
Yeah, Pinto's still a RFA.
So it's not like they'd even retain salary because they need every penny they could get.
They
Because
have
they only have
$62,000
$62,000. Wow.
Yeah, they have literally nothing. I mean, the only way the Rangers can get Matthew Joseph is they have to trade Gaudreau separately and then go through and acquire Matthew Joseph. I don't see either of those things happening as much as I want to dream.
But this all just circles back to the point where we're talking about the Rangers having to make a trade to get a third liner, but it's like people don't want them to just go out on the open market and get a guy
Get
that
the best
improves the
play.
team. Just get like if people want to say that he's not the same player he was before, fine. I don't think anyone's really disagreeing with that. But then again, we don't know because maybe the hip surgery helps him out and he's actually able to play at his top performance again. But even if he's not, he's at worst a guy who's going to put up a 50-point pace and contribute offensively. And, oh, by the way, I don't know if this is news to anyone, but the Rangers' second power play sucks.
Yeah, it's not great.
So guy like that might need to be save a spot because he would definitely help out there.
I saw a really good point too. I think I saw it on Twitter by someone. If the Rangers weren't intrigued by the idea of Kane possibly coming back, wouldn't we think maybe one of Kakko or Lafreniere playing on that power play one over Vincent Trocheck right now? Because I feel like it would be disrespect to Kakko or Lafreniere, to put him on power play one and then kick him off when Kane comes in. I
Yeah.
feel like there's no like attachment there with Trocheck. He's been booted off power play one to go to power play two at the deadline, obviously with Tarasenko and Kane coming in. So I'm wondering if he's just a placeholder, and when Kane comes in, you roll out those five on the power play with Fox, Kane, Kreider, Zvanja, and Panarin, and then Trocheck to power play two with whoever you have there. So
Yeah, I
just
mean,
an idea.
I wanted Hedel on that first power play unit, but I understand
Me
why
too.
I understand why Trocheck is there because his ability to win faceoffs. He is our
Yep.
best faceoff guy statistically, but he just he could score goals, he could provide assists, but he's not as offensively dynamic as
He's not.
Hedel is.
Yeah, that's a good point, Nico, because they have two defensemen too on the power play right now also. So it's like they could easily take one of the defensemen off the second unit, put Trocheck there, and then Kane gets his spot saved where he belongs.
You
on
gotta
the
think
first
it's
power play.
Keandre Miller that gets pulled up. I don't think you can pull up Erik Gustafsson. I think he's too good right now.
I don't know. They started with Miller there, and then
I don't know
and
why.
it was Wheeler. I don't know why either. I felt like Gustafsson was here to be
Yep.
that guy on the second power play, but I like that. I like that idea, Nico, and I will be there for that. I will be there
100%.
for that
We-
1,000%.
We will be there.
I mean, but
Not
back
talking
to
French way. Sorry, continue.
back to that point about Keandre and Gustafsson. I do think it is good to have multiple options to run to QB that PP2.
Doesn't hurt
I
to
mean,
be Jack
I
Harlow.
think
Mm-mm.
no. Look, I think I would kind of like to see, even though Gustafsson is the better guy to quarterback that second power play unit, I would kind of like to see him rotate a little bit, and then maybe towards halfway or a couple months into the season, you just have that one guy cement that spot, QBing that power play unit.
To tell you the truth, I really firmly believe that the reason it was Keandre over Gustafsson is they were afraid the kids were going to be a little bit too risky with the puck, leading to odd man rushes, and that Keandre's foot speed is just better than Gustafsson.
Yeah, that's probably what it was because I don't see a reason after Laviolette coached, especially
Mm-hmm.
Erik Gustafsson, why he wouldn't be on that unit otherwise. But
100%.
I think it makes sense to go out and just sign a guy who could make an impact on the third line right now versus gambling and rolling your dices at the deadline, hoping you could get a guy. And like I said before, have to give up more assets because to get Connor Garland, what's even a trade comparable for Connor Garland? If anyone
That's
can think off the top of their head.
That's a really, really tough one because he's got term, and it's essentially he has term. He's requested a trade. He's playing down to what his contract is worth, and
is your comparable maybe like in a weird way Hagel?
No, because I think Hagel's value.
Hagel just got overpaid by Tampa in terms of that,
and I think Hagel has a higher ceiling. Hagel was younger. Garland's 29 years old. Hold on, let me pull up his contract.
Just 3 years left. Wow.
The retaining salary though is another portion
Yeah.
that definitely puts the value up.
3 years at 4.95.
I think you're talking at least a first and another piece.
Dude, I don't even think you're for. I think you're maybe like if you're the Canucks who are looking at this more of we need to open up X amount of cap space and get rid of the player. I don't think they get more than this. I think a second would be an overpay. I'm really trying to think hard of who a comparable for this would be. This is definitely a difficult one.
Unless you would compare in a weird way this trade to maybe the St. Louis deal since he had term, but the problem is that he was an older guy, but like
he was also a point a game player.
That's true.
And Tampa didn't need to trade him. He didn't necessarily request a trade, but Tampa was actively shopping him.
I just feel like the fact that Vancouver would be retaining for, by the time the deadline rolls around, 2.5 years, of Garland, that's at least you have to at least give up like a second or a first in that deal. I get the bare minimum.
I tell you, I mean, we've seen retained salary trades recently. I don't think so. I don't really
Really?
think.
I mean, I would agree if it was for half the year or 1.5 years, but it's the fact that it's an additional year after that. Although, I guess you could say a guy like Carlson who's retained for
Yeah.
a long period of time.
I don't think, because here's the thing. I think you're thinking about it like this. You're thinking about it like Vancouver's holding all the cards. They have a lot of cap space and they don't have a need to trade this guy, so they're retaining salary as a favor. But the way it's being said in the media, it looks like they're retaining salary in order to facilitate a deal, so it works for another team. They're not doing it to get more value. They're doing it just so they're able to get rid of him. Is what it sounds more like to me.
Yeah, that's true. This is a tough trade to figure out.
Dude, I really cannot. I cannot find
This
a
can't.
comparable.
I don't think this would be like a trade that has really happened.
No, it's tough. I'm telling you, they're going to get next to nothing for him. And I think the longer they wait, the less value that he has, because teams are eyeballing other things and stuff like that. Let me do a little bit of research. Y'all do what you got to do. I'm gonna just do something for a minute.
Well, I was about to throw out a name potentially in a way that could make some sense. What if this is comparable? It's just a weird situation because this guy's older too. But in a weird way, could this be similar to a Brent Burns trade? The guy with a lot of term, retained salary for a few seasons.
Oh, you're saying Burns too. Yeah, but Burns is also still like a 60, 70 point defenseman. We're talking about a player whose production is dipping year after year and doesn't look disinterested in hockey, but doesn't look nearly as interested as he once was.
But Burns was really struggling, especially in his own end, towards the end of his time in San Jose. Like he was more of he was starting to decline a bit, and he was closer to being like a 50-point defenseman versus like a 70-point defenseman at that point.
His value was also tanked because of his age and his contract. It's possible. I'm definitely going to need a minute here because there's got to be a comparable.
Well, outside of that, while you're looking for a comparable, other guys they could get for the third line, does anyone even have like any names? I know it's ridiculous that we're talking the trade deadline 3 games in, but it's like, this is what happens when rumors start to kick in about Kane.
Yeah, exactly. I
think you probably.
P I see in the chat said Perron. If Detroit
Perron.
sells.
It's a great deadline option.
Perron would be a very good ad. What's his
deadline option?
4.75 million cap hit. That would have to be cut in half, obviously.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we're seeing a lot more third parties going in trades too to retain a bit. So maybe you can get 75% retention on a Perron deal. That could be intriguing. Who are some other options? I don't know.
I'm trying to just look at like.
To say. I cut him off before. What were you gonna say, Matt?
Oh no, I wasn't gonna say anything.
Oh.
I'm trying to look at teams that suck right now.
Yeah.
Like, this would be a weird acquisition for a guy. What about Tyler Johnson? The guy
he could recapture his game, like how good he was in Tampa.
He has 3 goals in 4 games.
Yeah, I love Tyler Johnson when he was with Tampa. What's his contract right now?
It's $5 million. So another guy that you'd obviously
need to cut that shit in half.
Yeah, but I don't think Chicago's gonna have a problem with that at all.
Yeah. I do have another guy. I mean, this team is struggling right now, but I do expect them to pick him up. But if they don't, could be a very, very good option. Jordan Eberle.
Oh yeah, if Seattle starts sucking,
he's making was it 5.5 right now.
That could be another one. I mean, I would just to go back to Tyler Johnson for a second. He plays all 3 forward positions. Could kill penalties. Could probably be on your power play too. I mean, the only concern you have about Tyler Johnson's is health. Like, otherwise, very good hockey player. Very good hockey player right there. But then you said, Why am I blanking on who you just said before? Because I was gonna look
Me?
at. Yeah.
I said Eberle.
Oh yeah, Eberle. Eberle would be a very good ad. Eberle would be a great ad, especially a guy that's played in a defensive system before under Trotz. Like he'll
Oh man,
that would help, and he adds 20 goals to your lineup. That would be
Speed
a good
also.
ad. Yeah. But it's like it's just the thing is we have to talk about cap getting cut in half. We have to talk about giving up assets. We have to talk about all of this. I'm again trying to understand why we don't want to just go get the free agent here. Why people don't just want to get
Yeah.
the guy that's available and would be willing to play for your team.
Skip the middleman.
It's because
Nah.
he's washed.
Injured equals washed. Even though he still put up the third most points on our team, but no, he was at blame for
No, he's-
everything.
Only one of the greatest American-born players to ever play hockey, but nah, we don't need him.
The best.
Garbage.
Yeah,
Re-
I don't know like who else. Like the problem is they can't get a third liner or a guy like. There's just no getting a guy like Kane without having a team retain salary and giving up assets. It's just instead of
We know-
continuing
to look at this.
What about
It's just the
what,
truth.
what about if Winnipeg is struggling, Nino Niederreiter?
Very good.
That's a guy I was
piece, yeah.
interested in the past.
make-
I'm not
He's
sure.
he's only making $4 million.
I was interested in him in the past. I'm not so sure about him anymore. Like he'll give you some points, but it's not like he's a great power play guy. I don't know. I don't think he kills penalties either. Like I don't really see a fit with Niederreiter. I'm not a big Niederreiter guy. That's just me though.
Connor Brown.
The guy that they should have just got for the top 9 was Tyler Toffoli though.
Actually-
and you let him
Actually,
go.
I just found
Yep.
he would be a really good ad, especially on the third line. Can score a lot of goals. Is only making $2 million a year and signed a 1-year deal with Detroit in the offseason. Daniel Sprong.
We
I
were
wanted Daniel
screaming for
Sprong.
his name. We were screaming for that one.
I mean, I think he would fit right into that third line.
God almighty.
Oh,
Chandler
Holy
Stevenson traded to
Trochex,
Washington for a
bro.
5th. God almighty. I still can't believe they got him for a fucking 5th round pick.
You're really digging for these trades. Wow.
Yeah, honestly, the best comparable I've seen so far is Victor Rask, because Victor Rask got traded when he was, let's see how old Victor Rask was. Come on, Cletus. Let's see. Victor Rask he was 25, but he also had like 4 years left, and he went from being a good scoring middle six forward to really just not doing shit, wanted out. But he was just a 1-for-1 swap. It was him for Nino straight up. So unless it's fucking unless it's Garland for Gaudreau, I think we are SOL.
So Garland's probably unrealistic is what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think Garland and Matthew Joseph are both completely out of the picture, and I think we should just avoid making a trade and just again make the simple signing.
If only
man.
if only the Wild didn't extend Zuccarello, would have been
Oh,
been the perfect third line addition to this team at the deadline.
was made for this team, man.
T. Giuseppe. He's playing with JT Miller and Brock Besser right now.
That man's living it up.
He's friggin' farming XP off those two.
Farming XP. Maybe the Rangers will bring back Matt Pumple. Maybe he'll be our third line solution.
Matt Pumple.
Maybe Marek Krivik, is he going to come back from overseas?
What about Sam Lafferty? I was interested in him last year, but I'm not
Would've
so
been a good
sure.
deadline.
I'm not so sure if I want him like I did last year. People are saying Morgan Barron in the chat.
Oh man,
Morgan.
I still think that was a huge mistake trading him as a throw-in in that fucking Andrew Copp trade. We got ripped off in that fucking
Just like
trade.
if the Rangers threw in Talon Boyko into a trade, it would just be a mistake.
Don't get me started. But I still can't believe we give up what for Andrew Copp? A first, a second, and Morgan Barron. That's what it finished out as.
A first, second, fifth, and Barron.
Yeah, it's fucking insane. Drury got absolutely molested in that deal. That was terrible.
No, he didn't because he actually gave up a second, but the Rangers made the conference finals, and that's why it was a first. So
Yeah, I think that was an absolutely awful trade. And I think Kopp was good when he was here, but
he sucked in the
he was
playoffs.
terrible in the play. In the playoffs, he was
he-
playing different
he-
than what he was in the regular season. He went away from his style. Where you're here to muck and grind and get Panarin the puck, and he's tried to do too much shit with the puck.
I don't
He was
understand.
decent.
Sorry, go.
I was gonna say he was decent in that Penguins series, and then he just faded out in the
Oh, God.
Carolina and Tampa series.
He was awful in the Tampa series. He was a waste of space.
Yeah, I'll never understand how he costed as much as he did. Like, I guess the comparable of that trade was the Pajot trade, but the Rangers gave up more than the Islanders did for Pajot in that deal. But
Mhm.
wait, the Rangers got a 6th-round pick, so it's all okay.
Oh right, yeah. So never mind. Laviolette can recruit.
Dylan
Oshie.
Dylan Robrecht. Can't wait. He's gonna be elite. He's gonna be better than Barron. Morgan
Yeah.
Barron, either way, they never gave enough minutes. He was another guy they just plugged onto the 4th line, and they were just like, have at it.
Yep. Heaven forbid you give a good prospect that literally a 6th-round pick that got better every year after you drafted him. It's like, yeah, let's just go ahead and let him go for a rental.
And the difference between him playing on the 4th line here versus in Winnipeg is Winnipeg actually has like decent guys playing with them. They have Kapari playing with them. And I don't know who this guy David Gustafson is, but he's probably I'm going to say that he's better than Brett Howden, at least what Brett Howden was as a Ranger. So
God Almighty,
The man rocket himself.
Jesus, dude. I don't know how the Rangers swung and missed on every asset we got back in that fucking trade. You traded a future. I mean, obviously, we might not have known at the time. A 99-point center at the time, your number one defenseman, and what is your crown of that? Oh, you got a 1st-round pick back for Nils Lundqvist. Okay,
which
So-
didn't even really matter in the end because they ended up trading that first to get Tarasenko. So
that trade
didn't
trade
win the
was
cup.
dead.
Jeff Gordon committed a war crime there.
Actually, I want to go back and look at that trade real quick, just because I
why do you
Sure.
hate yourself?
You're gonna hurt yourself even more.
Oh, I love this. Oh, I love it.
Love it.
Let's see.
Only in video games you love hurting yourself though. Only in a video
Only in
game.
video games or with Nerf guns. Actually, I'll tell you really something funny real quick. Grace and I did have a Nerf war in my room the other day. That shit was fun as fuck. That was hilarious.
Why didn't you save me a spot?
Dude, I'm telling you right now, like, she thought it was just gonna be like, oh, I'm just gonna hide behind the bed, come out and shoot her. No. I turned the lights off, I played the Mortal Kombat theme, and I ran in there like it was fucking Warzone. And I still lost.
I just know that's what that content house is gonna
Bro.
become.
Dude, that shit is gonna be hilarious. All right, so let's see. So yeah, McDonough and Miller for Nemesnikov, smell ya. Howden, bye-bye. Libor Hayek, a 1st-round pick, Nils Lundqvist, and a 2nd-round pick, Carl Henriksen. Carl Henriksen is the only thing we have left in that deal. What do we get for Brett Howden? Noah Laba. All right, so we have Noah Laba. We have
killed me.
yeah, we've got Laba. We've got Carl Henriksen. The 1st-round pick we got for Nils Lundqvist, was that the one? Yep, that was the one we fucking traded. And they drafted yep, so we have nothing left from that 1st-round pick. We have Libor Hayek. We just let walk, so we have nothing there. His tree ends there. And Vlad Nemesnikov. What did we get for Nemesnikov?
Why was Dryden
We
Hunt
got-
brought up?
We got
Mention
Nick Ebert and a 4th-round pick,
Oh.
Callie Vasanen. I think we just let him walk too. So
Nick
Nick
Ebert.
Ebert. Oh my
Sounds
God,
like
I
sounds like
remember him.
sounds like a guy of Sesame Street.
yeah, right. Like we seriously, like, we did not get. We're like sitting here praying on Noah Laba and Carl Henriksen to live up to what JT Miller and Ryan McDonough did.
That was a mark
Like
moment.
this is like what we're left with. Like we're left with this. This is like, okay, good luck upholding this fucking deal for us that we just got murdered on. God Almighty, I think that is fucking insane that John Gabriel Pajot got more back than Ryan McDonough and JT Miller got.
It
God
hurt my heart hearing that.
Almighty. Like that is
Sick to my
absolutely
stomach.
sickening. And what kills me the most too, we're going on a rant. You got me started. McDonough had
Oh,
term. Miller had term. Miller was our highest scoring forward at the time. McDonough was our number one defenseman and our captain. And we somehow Didn't get shit in that trade. Past a 4th-round pick that we got from an asset we traded later, and a 2nd-round pick that's 22 years old, and in 72 AHL games has 17 points. That is our crown jewel from trading your captain,
That
your
was
number
the-
1 scoring forward.
That was the letter right there.
That's
God
that sounds,
almighty.
What's
That
worse,
sounds-
the letter or the trade?
The
The
trade.
trade.
The trade 100%.
I don't know about that.
I
That letter
respect
did
the
not
hell out
age
of the
well.
letter. Dude, but you know what? Like, the Rangers did, like, on paper, we're not going to talk about the McDonough trade. That doesn't exist. The Rick Nash trade was a freaking, should have been a steal. And I still think it kind of was. Like in the end, the Rangers for Rick Nash, we ate Bolesky. We had Spoon Sanity, Ryan Lindgren, who's, that was loud, our number 1, number 2 defenseman, Jacob Bernard Docker, the 1st-round pick that we fucking traded. I don't know why we traded to move up. So we used that pick to trade up and get Keandre Miller. So essentially right now you have Rick Nash for Spoon Sanity, who turned into Ryan Strome, which you got very effective years out of Ryan Strome, and Keandre Miller. Even Rick Nash for Keandre Miller straight up is a raging success. The trade that was a big failure in my eyes, aside from the McDonough trade, was a Zuccarello trade, which was a botch and a half. The fact that you couldn't get a 1st-round pick back for this guy is just
A
mind-blowing.
guaranteed one because there was the condition.
Right, you
Yeah.
could have gotten
It
2,
had to
but
be
you didn't
guaranteed.
get fucking shit. You got Oliver Tarnstrom. Oh, God. Our future number 1 center, Oliver Tarnstrom. Look at my face. Look how serious I am. Oliver Tarnstrom.
the
Oh,
the
that was
letter
good.
the letter was the right move. You just had the wrong people
Yeah.
Yeah.
trying to
trying
do a
operate through
rebuild,
it.
trying to operate the ship.
That's
Right.
what blows my mind about the fact that Jeff Gordon got another gig
Yeah.
and John
But-
Davidson.
But it's just
Dude.
the same thing. Look what JD's doing in Columbus. I mean, he has a young team there who has a lot of potential. And what does he do? He goes out, gets Ivan Provorov, gets Damon Severson, locks him up to a Jacob Trouba style
Right.
contract,
Screws
Oversees
himself.
And
the
then-
Mike Babcock hire.
and then and then I mean he's a good player, but basically Johnny Gaudreau is the Artemi
Panarin,
Panarin
yep.
equivalent in Columbus.
Like, you're literally 100% right. He's literally redoing what he fucked up with the Rangers. And, like, dude, they had Kent Johnson health bomb the first game of the season. Your number 4 pick, like the future of your franchise, who was half a point a game last season on a shitty offensive team, and you're like, yeah, let's health bomb him game 1. You got Jack Roslovic on the 4th line, like someone would have taken him in the offseason. Eat the salary, you cheap bastard. It's just, I don't know. The Blue Jackets are a weird team, dude.
That's a guy I would take at the deadline, Roslovic. I wanted him last
yeah.
deadline.
We talked about him last year. I like Roslovic. Definitely a candidate for the Hands team.
Give me Ryan Spooner. Give me Dryden Hunt. Dryden Hunt. That guy will forever be remembered for taking Kakko's spot in that game
Yep.
6.
I will never forgive Gerard Gallant for that. There's a lot of things
Dude.
I'll never forgive Gerard Gallant for, but that's one of them.
Dude. That shit blows my mind.
That's one of them, all right.
Speaking of things that blow my mind, the fact that the Rangers are already running Igor into the ground. Like, they're starting him tomorrow, too.
Yeah.
Are we just not... Are we done with Jonathan Quick already?
They won't even give him a game, bro.
I would have started quick tomorrow and let Igor start that West Coast trip. But
Especially with the way Nashville's looked, I would have easily gave Quick the start
and,
tomorrow.
and
Kind
especially
of bizarre that it's not him.
I'm kind of a lot more. I'm not completely comfortable, but I'm a lot more comfortable playing in front of Quick if we are going to play this well defensively, and
Yeah.
we're not going to give up these high danger chances. Because then, I mean, listen, if Quick's letting up 3 goals on 15 shots, then we know who the problem is.
Right.
Quick was
Right.
a-
And what are you going to do? You're going to start quick against Edmonton? Oh, Jesus Christ. Like,
Hey,
figure it out.
listen. Jack Campbell and Stuart Skinner versus Jonathan Quick. We need that more than anything.
True. True.
Get it up, Evan.
Oh boy,
Dude, goal scorers licking their lips.
we're in for a double
That threw me.
scoreline.
That threw me off.
God almighty. Jesus Christ. All right, I got to hop off. I'm overdue, boys. Sorry, I got a Joey D you guys tonight.
He's pulling a Ranger season ticket holder event move.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck.
Oh fuck! We didn't even get to talk about that.
You guys enjoy talking about that. I've ranted quite enough this evening.
Oh, we will. Oh, we'll talk about that.
All right, later, boys.
See you later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a little worried though about this goaltending situation. I was worried when they signed Quick. People called me crazy because it's like, why are you ranting about a backup goalie? Because he plays 20 games for you. And if he goes 5-15 in those 20 games, that could be the difference in you making the playoffs versus not making the playoffs. So I don't want to hear anything about that. Jonathan Quick is definitely concerned. And that's another thing. The Rangers are going to have to give up assets potentially for a backup goalie because I would love Garon. I'm not too sure if he's ready yet, but Quick's going to have to get games at some point. So when is he playing? Are you playing him against Seattle, who's probably going to kick his ass? Waiting for Calgary? Waiting for Edmonton? Like, what team is he playing against? I felt like the perfect game to get him into was
I'm
tomorrow.
worried about that. I'm worried about that Seattle game because they've played like 4 games so far. They haven't won a game. Their next game is against Carolina. They're not winning that. You know their first win of the season is coming against us. That's just written in the stars already.
That will tell me that this team's different if they end up beating Seattle, especially with Jonathan Quick in goal. Because Quick has to be starting that game, right? There's no way Igor goes for 5 games in a row traveling to the
no.
West Coast.
Yeah,
I can't.
That's
Yeah,
why
we need to get him in the net, man.
That's why
already.
I would much rather Quick tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with the way Nashville's played. Like, they gave up how many goals? And UC Soros, oh boy, my award predictions are aging like milk. They're not as crisp as they were last year because UC Soros looks bad. Braden Point.
Yeah, he's like Harry Potter. You see Saros, and he can't even save them, man. That team is fucking brutal.
Like Harry Potter.
He can't even save that team, man. Jesus.
Yeah, they're gonna need to get a backup goalie. I don't have faith in Quick. I definitely don't have faith in Louis Domingue. And then I don't know what Garand is yet.
The spicy pork god Louis Domingue. You don't have any faith in him.
Believe it or not, I don't. Yeah, believe it or not, I don't. But the Rangers with Igor in net, they got to beat Nashville. They got to beat Nashville. That was already a game where you pencil that in as a game that they should win. Now you really got to beat them.
Oh yeah, if they could
Mhm.
go 3-1 to this West Coast Canada trip, taking that all day.
I said going into the stretch of next 6 games, you got to go 4-2. At worst, 3-3. If they're 3-3, okay, fine, because they're adjusting to a new system. But if they go anything worse than 3-3, we got problems here. We got problems, but
Yep.
I'm glad that you mentioned the season ticket holder thing, Matt, because I completely forgot about that. So if you're unaware or you're not on Twitter, whatever the case may be, the New York Rangers held a season ticket holder event yesterday that they do annually, and it was a meet and greet event. So anyone that's a season ticket holder is invited. And the Rangers did something that was not necessarily the best idea. So they advertised the event from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. And by 7 p.m., the players were leaving and they weren't letting anyone else, they weren't letting anyone in the building or anything like that. The event was pretty much over at 7 o'clock when they advertised it as 8. And I understand that people are going to say, oh, they're professional athletes. They're not obligated to please the fans. But first of all, I would disagree at that point either way, because we're the reason that you're getting paid. We're watching you every night. And I think that it takes 2 seconds for you to acknowledge a fan. If a fan's being obnoxious, that's one thing. But if a fan's just politely asking for your autograph, then that's a different thing. But you're at a meet and greet and you committed to a 5 to 8 time slot and you leave early. I don't know if this was a player's decision. I don't know if this was a Rangers decision, but whoever's decision this was needs to both issue an apology, needs to give the season ticket holders some sort of memorabilia or something, because they already have tickets, so it's not like you could give them tickets. What were you saying?
No, supposedly I saw someone was talking about it on Twitter, and supposedly they said that actually it's not the Rangers that run it, it's Chase. So they actually decide, like, what time they come in, what time they go. I mean, they scheduled it for 5 to 8, but they should have stuck to that time slot, but they didn't, and it is what it is.
Yep, and whoever it is needs to needs to end up losing their job, and this has apparently been happening for years and years now, and it got worse this year. This guy Maddie at Philip E. Heedle, tweeted, the meet and greet just cut massive lines off because the players have to depart. Advertising 5 to 8 p.m. Fucking embarrassing, Rangers. I paid $40 a park just to be sent home. Then Daniel, who follows me on Twitter, ended up tweeting as well, saying kids were crying. All the fans were pissed, trying to get someone to speak to, but they were told nothing. But they were told nothing to do. Another terrible job by the organization. And then someone replied to my tweet. This guy, Anthony, said, I've been a season ticket holder for 3 years now and didn't even get an invite. So I'm trying to understand what's happening here. I've ranted about this organization ad nauseum and how they aggravate me with the way that they act and the way that they make themselves seem like they're above everyone, and the fact that they treat the fans and everyone like they're the Yankees or they're these top dogs or they're too above everyone else to care. But this is just another level of embarrassing, and it just aggravates me. It really aggravates me. You have this team who cannot air at all rookie games. You have an organization that charges you $150 just to sniff the arena, charges you $1,000 to use the bathrooms in the fucking arena, $50,000 for popcorn. I'm obviously over exaggerating, but they charge you all this money and everything. People spend their money and time to go to the games, and these are your season ticket holders and who give you the most money of anyone, and you decide to do this. Terrible look for the organization. The fact that there's not any apology from anyone is an embarrassment.
It's also listen, I don't know who the Rangers social media guy is on Twitter, but I mean at 10:54 this morning they put out a post that says "Say cheese. Thanks to our season ticket members who came out to say hi at last night's Chase meet and greet." I'm like, really? Like, you're not gonna read the room? Why would you put that out when you're seeing you're getting a whole lot of shit on Twitter for leaving early, and you're gonna say, "Oh, thanks for coming out, guys. Happy we made 10-year-olds and 8-year-olds cry."
Very embarrassing. It sucks too. It's not the first time we've seen things like this.
Yep.
It's like season ticket holders, people who put a lot of money into it, at the least deserve to, meet the players, get autographs and whatever. But the fact that you don't even care, you cut it off and don't say anything about it, it's mind-boggling, and it's really a shame. And I hate that it has to be this way with this organization. It's always some sort of problem, and it's not right at all. So, I mean, hopefully there's some sort of reasoning for this soon and some compensations given out. But I mean, knowing this, it'll just get swept right under the rug.
But the thing is, it's not even a Rangers thing. It's just a sports thing in general. Because I watch a lot of like English football and stuff and football in Europe, and a lot of the times you see people complaining about how players, how they come out after the game, and there's these little kids asking for autographs, and they just walk right by them. They don't acknowledge them at all. So it's not just the Rangers. So I'm not saying that they're in the right here. They're obviously in the wrong, but it's not just a Ranger thing. It's sports culture in general.
Yeah, and it aggravates me that it is this way. Because these fans take the time to spend their money. They take their time every night at 7 o'clock, even 10 o'clock some nights when it's on the West Coast, to watch you play, and we're the reason you're getting paid, and you can't, at the very least, even wave to the fans. But this was a decision not by the players, and that's not on them. But whoever's decision this was, regardless, needs to issue some sort of an apology, because this was just wrong. And it amazes me how the Rangers took their time to release a statement against the NHL because their star player and their top product got ragdolled by Tom Wilson. They took their time to make a statement there, but they can't take their time to make a statement about something like this for their fans.
I think instead of a statement, they should just refund them a couple games. let him go a couple games for free. They won't do that though, because
Yeah,
Dolan needs
y'all know that ain't
Dolan needs his
happening.
money. Maybe cut the bathroom price from 50 to 25, but even that's pushing it, I guess.
That definitely is pushing it. That y'all know ain't happening. I gotta get the video clip for that.
Yo, for sure. I just
I'm
gotta
actually
add
reading.
Mike Tomlin there in the back.
You need to add that to the back with that AB jersey.
For
Yo,
sure.
we gotta go to like a range game or something and just go around interviewing people. It's like, oh, did you see the recent statement coming out from Dolan that the Garden's gonna be issuing bathroom prices? See what people's reaction is.
Oh, that'd be great.
Knowing
And you,
how he is, we'd get kicked out. But
and you need a Chase card.
I'm actually reading this reply right now. Speaking of Chase, Statboy Steven replied to that tweet you were talking about that the Rangers put out this morning, saying, "Strange how there's no mention of players showing up late and then leaving an hour early, resulting in kids crying and tons of people waiting in line for over an hour without even getting to meet a single player." And then someone said, "I've heard this is Chase's fault. I already changed my payment card for tickets off Chase." And then Steven said, "Did Chase cause the players to show up late? Did Chase send the players home an hour early with people still waiting in line?" And then the guy said, "My understanding is that Chase booked the players from 5:30 to 7, but booked the event from 5 to 8. Didn't communicate that the players wouldn't be there." The email also commented about fun activities, of which I saw none. Maybe the magician. It was a cluster. They brought a fucking magician in thinking that would help. Maybe the magician could fucking save this team. But you all know that ain't happening because he's probably not Harry Potter, so
Maybe the magician could make Jonathan quick again.
Seriously.
a magician for entertainment? Are we fucking serious? This is the
Oh,
same
Jesus.
organization too, by the way, that moved that moved their fan zone that they have for the playoffs every year outdoors, and it's just gotten less and less. It's gotten less and less fun as the time has went on. Like they used to have, like shooting things you could do. Like they'd have nets you could shoot on, and just like fun things like that. Now it's just pretty much like a photo op area. Like you could take a picture with the "No Quit New York" letters, everyone. Go take a picture with this truck that we just wrapped with the Rangers logo and "No Quit New York." Just get "No Quit New York" everywhere. Go see someone wave a "No Quit New York" flag. That looked wrong, but regardless, this organization is just. I can't fucking wrap my head around it with how embarrassing they are. Like, just some of this shit is ridiculous. And yeah, $150 to go to a regular season game, pretty much $300 now to see a postseason game.
Yes.
And you wonder why people talk about how our fan base is not as rowdy. No, it's not the case. It's just the fact that the real fans are priced out. It's just that simple. And they can't even do something simple, too, for the real fans, like watch parties. And when they do watch parties, they only do it in, like, the conference finals or something. It's just, I don't get it. You're the highest valued franchise. Like, why can't you do anything right?
I don't get why, like at MSG, they have the Hulu Theater. Why can't you just get fans to come in there and watch the game at the theater on a big screen?
They have screens outside the Garden. Like the Leafs have a giant screen outside their building, and they let fans gather around there for the game, and it's free too. I'm pretty sure they charge for watch parties too, the Rangers now. So,
did they really?
I mean, they charged you $20 to go to the watch party against Tampa, right? Or $10, whatever it was. Why are we charged for watch parties? Like, are you fucking kidding?
Oh my god, dude! Like, yeah, now that you brought that up. They made you pay $10 to really go inside a machine watch the game. Like, come on. Like, yeah, it's $10, but like, come on, is that necessary?
People are still paying to park. People are still paying or taking the train. People are paying for these things. So, I don't understand it. I really just don't understand it all. But Oh, Max Scherzer's getting lit up.
Oh, he is.
Sorry, I just saw 3
Oh,
runs for the
let's go.
Astros.
We're here for such a meal.
It's gonna feed families right here.
Wow, yeah. I see.
Oh my God, this is beautiful. This is everything that. This is what we needed more than anything. This is what.
This is what we've been
This is
saving up
poetic.
for.
This is what we live for.
Wow,
I'm sorry to
dude.
talk baseball, everyone, because I know everyone's like, "Oh, here come the comments." They stopped talking about baseball at this time. Ready for those comments, but
Oh, the tweets are going crazy.
but
No,
yeah, this
listen,
is.
We need this Astros comeback so they can take down the Phillies in the World Series. I ain't trying to see the Phillies win this World Series this year. We will not be there for that.
Martin Maldonado is who got the runs. Martin Maldonado.
We
Oh,
warned
no.
Rangers fans, Texas Rangers fans.
Oh, they didn't want to believe us. They didn't want to believe us. What did we tell you? What did we tell you, Texas?
And like Jets fans warned us about Wheeler. We warned them about Grandpa Scherzer over here.
I don't know what they thought they were getting in Max Scherzer. Did they think, like, bro acts like the main character, like, just because he? That's the definition of the he's trying to make him look vicious meme. Like, that's what Ranger fans at Scherzer because.
Remember
unbelievable.
right before we traded him and they were doing the interviews and Scherzer was like, "Oh yeah, I talked to the team brass. Yeah. I talked to Steve."
Gosh.
Beautiful.
Bro, like you're not that guy anymore.
Made me happy. Made me smile.
That's amazing.
No one said nice after I said that. It's kind of wrong.
Yeah, oh yeah. And then now it's too late to do it. Damn.
Made me happy. Made me smile.
Nice.
But I think we'll wrap up the episode here. After ranting about one Rangers team to now enjoying the downfall. We're going to be celebrating with a drink with this one, with Scherzer's downfall.
World.
But a drink of water, by the way, that is.
Drink
Don't
it's water.
demonetize
yes.
me. Don't demonetize me.
Yeah, it's
We're drinking water. But we're going to end it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you guys are new. And we will see you guys in the next one.